Why is the president building golden statue of himself and acting like he's Jesus Christ on the world stage?
You push money into the coffers of the wealthy for their protection and work for them like a shill. And you guys only find a spine when you're saying you're going to retire. Come on. I know you have to know better.
And I just feel as though that he's not the same Donald Trump that he was, and I'm just very disappointed. And I'm not really happy with the state of, of the country right now where we're at.
It's so, cathartic to watch the figures actively screwing us over get what they deserve from the American people.
When the president came into office, he said he was going to make things lower for the American people. The economy was going to be, gas prices were not going to be above $3. I'm paying more than $5 for a gallon right now. And thirdly, Mr. Congressman, when the president came into office, Americans were respected around the world. I just came from Europe. In Europe, we are disrespected. A guy spat in my face in Luxembourg because of our actions around the world. America is no longer respected. And let me ask you a third question. Why is the president building golden statue of himself and acting like he's Jesus Christ on the world stage, putting up portraits, acting as if though he is Christ?
Isn't it about your opinion really on trickle-down and oligarchy and protecting of the morbidly rich and killing the middle class and our gross domestic product, because it kills domestic economic growth when you push money into the coffers of the wealthy for their protection and work for them like a shill. And how is it that you are able to be there in the Senate and funded by AIPAC?
Well,
proudly.
Hold on, Michael, because he's a congressman in the U.S. House, represents the 8th District of Florida.
If you thought those callers were brutal, this one really skewered almost every single Republican official in the country.
I know you're a smart guy, former educator. Why do you guys continue to parrot Trump's crazy Fox News talking points when I know you have to know right from wrong? There's just no way everyone.
Well, give us an example, Roger. Give us a specific example.
For example, the 9% inflation under Biden. You know that was COVID. Like, come on. Gas prices. Presidents don't affect gas prices unless they're stupid enough to start a war in the Middle East. Okay? So Trump, Biden, neither one of them controlled it. It had to do with starting wars, and that's why we're dealing with these gas prices. And you know your own intelligence said there was no way they were close to a nuclear weapon, but yet you come on TV and you say the same thing, and you guys only find a spine when you're saying you're going to retire. Come on. I know you have to know better.
Well,
Please,
let's get a
be
response.
better.
Congressman Herodopoulos.
Well, it's always nice to have strong opinions. They might not be backed up with fact, but it's nice he has some strong opinions. Look, all I can say is gas prices went down dramatically because we're producing more oil. We're creating those new opportunities around the world. Venezuela is going to help us in the long term. But the threat of Iran is real. And you don't have to listen to me or President Trump, Roger. Listen to people like the senator from Connecticut. The Democrat, Murphy, was talking about this very issue just a few months ago. People on MSNBC were saying the president wasn't tough enough on Iran. Now they're switching lanes. It's called politics. We really believe that a nuclear Iran is a true threat. They obviously were trying to upgrade their uranium to create a weapon, and they've been lying for years now as we found out that they have the ability to fire missiles over 2,000 miles away. I consider that a major threat, where it's a short-term challenge, but it'll be a long-term success for America and the world if we take these folks out of the ability to project power.
That was not a response. That was a man hearing a question, deciding the question did not exist, and reading the script back from the top. And that right there is the entire Republican Party in 2026, a party that cannot answer a question, cannot hold a thought that isn't on the teleprompter, cannot tell you a single thing it actually believes that isn't handed to it by Donald Trump in the morning. And the reason is simple. Inside the Republican Party right now, there is no room for disagreement. No room for nuance. There is no room for an independent thought of any kind, because Donald Trump made very, very sure of that. He spent the last decade purging anyone who disagreed with him. He primaried the Liz Cheneys. He drove out the Adam Kissingers. He chased out the Mitt Romneys. He turned the Lindsey Grahams and the Marco Rubios and the J.D. Vances, the people who, on the record, said in 2016 that he was a moral disaster, into the loudest defenders he has, because he taught the entire party one lesson. You break with him, you're done. your career's over. Your donors disappear. Your primary opponent gets endorsed, and your district gets gerrymandered into oblivion if you somehow survive. And the people who enforce that discipline are not just Trump, it is the right-wing media ecosystem. Fox News, Newsmax, OAN, Daily Wire, Podcast Army, Talk Radio Empire. They will rip apart any Republican who deviates from the line. Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, the two names that just came up in that Connecticut caller you're about to hear, they used to be in the room. Then they crossed the line. And the line was Israel, the line was Iran, the line was war. The moment they said the wrong thing, the entire MAGA media machine turned on them like an immune system. That is what Mike Herodopoulos saw in real time. That is the lesson every Republican congressman learns within 30 days of getting elected. You repeat the script or you go home. So he repeated the script, and the caller saw it, the country saw it, and what we just watched on C-SPAN, 3 independent callers in a row, a Democrat and 2 independents with surgical precision on a federal cable channel on a show that morning. That was the cracks. Those are the cracks. That is the moment when the spell starts to break.
I'm just a little confused because I followed Donald Trump for the last 10 years, and I was definitely in line and agreement with a lot of the stuff that he spoke about, especially with the things that were being implemented into our country, especially with our children in public schools and things like that, and healthcare and the pandemic and the whole nine. But I feel as though he's taken a 180-degree turn on his priorities, from what he promised us. We were expecting a golden age and all these positive things to happen. And I don't feel as though that the economy has improved. Gas prices are out of whack. And the fact that we're in a war, and he said we'd never be in wars again. He made a lot of promises, and he's changed. And he's also attacked a lot of the people that helped put him in office, like Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson and all these people that really put him where he is right now. And I just feel as though that he's not the same Donald Trump that he was, and I'm just very disappointed. And I'm not really happy with the state of the country right now where we're at. I don't see war and killing innocent children and people like that, bombings and stuff like that, how it's going to solve anything.
10 years. Through the first term, through January 6th, through the indictments, through the trial, through the campaign, through every news cycle that was supposed to be the one that finally broke MAGA and never did. Edgar stayed. And then Edgar got on the phone and said out loud on national TV that he feels betrayed, that the economy is not better, that gas is not lower, that we are in a war Trump said we would never be in, that the man he voted for has turned on the people who put him in office. He named Tucker, he named Candace, and, well, he is not the same Donald Trump as what he said who ran in 2024, and Edward said something else. The part I can't stop thinking about, he said, I do not see how bombing children and killing innocent people is going to solve anything. That is a person who voted for Donald Trump waking up in real time on live television. And the most important question for everybody watching on the left is this: when Edgar wakes up, who is there to catch him? Because here's the trap. Democratic establishment, the consultant class, the donor class, the same crew that ran Hillary in 2016, ran a Biden re-election right off a cliff in 2024, their answer to Edgar is basically, told you so, vote blue. We're not as bad. And that's it. That's the pitch. There's no economic vision in that, no anti-war position. There's no anti-corruption position in it. There is no message in that which explains why your grocery bill doubled, or why your kid cannot afford a house, or why two parties have been trading the White House back and forth for 40 years while real wages stayed flat and the rich got richer. There is just vote blue. We're not as bad. And that is not enough. It was not enough in 2016, not enough in 2024, and it's not going to be enough for Edgar. Edgar needs to hear more. Millions of Edgars need to hear more. People on the left who actually understand what is happening to working Americans agree with him about the war. That's what he needs to hear. Agree with him about gas prices, about being lied to. Agree with him that the establishment of both parties has spent 40 years selling out the working class to corporate donors, defense contractors, oligarchs. The difference is that On the left, the diagnosis goes further. It is not just that Donald Trump lied to Edgar, it is that the entire system Donald Trump rode in on has been lying to Edgar his whole adult life. People benefiting from those lies, they're not on the southern border, they're not in the school library, and they're not in a trans kid's bathroom. They are in boardrooms, defense contractor offices, they're in lobbyist offices, they're at the Trump golf course in West Palm Beach writing checks to Lindsey Graham. So if you're listening to this and you are on the left and you're wondering, what can we do? Next time you talk to an Edgar in your life, do not start with what he got wrong. Start with what he's right about. He's right. The economy's broken. He's right. The war is not making us safer. He is right that he was lied to. Start there. Build from there. And maybe, just maybe, the next time C-SPAN puts a microphone in front of a guy in Connecticut who voted Republican for 10 years, the answer is not just, I do not know who I am anymore. The answer is, I am voting for the person who told me the truth.